we really could have seen this coming, and it doesn't change my prediction. So John Tavares can sit and meet with 5 teams, is going to sit and meet with 5 teams, and Larry Brooks was quick to say Rangers aren't one of them. It's weird, though, that he knows the Rangers aren't on the list, but he wouldn't know who's on the list, really. It's a weird thing to throw in there, but you know what? It's Brooks, so okay. It's all about the Rangers. Uh, John Tavares is in an interesting position. He is due to become an unrestricted free agent and could become uh, one of the more overpaid players in the league. I love Tavares. I think John Tavares is a fantastic player. But if he ends up with Connor McDavid money, I think somebody will regret that contract eventually. I say that because he's 27. He's still in his prime. He's at least a point per game guy. He can score 40 in a season with the right guys on his line, and with a situation that works to his advantage. He honestly is in an excellent position, and that 12.5 million a year, if that's what he ends up with, and there's some crazy numbers out there. If he ends up with that kind of a contract, it might be a situation that teams are okay with for the first 4 or 5 years, and then we'll see what happens after that. But if you can win a Stanley Cup, do you really care what's going to happen 4 or 5 years down the road? I don't. The interesting thing, of course, is that the Leafs are a team that's apparently got this video package put together, and people want me to talk about that. If the Leafs sign John Tavares, then there's the potential that this means that other players that are currently on the team, other young star players, star forwards, could be on their way out the door. And with what they've built over the last couple of years, there's some risk to that. There's some risk to changing your general manager as they have. There's some risk to a lot of things that Toronto's doing, and this would be another added risk. And it gives them almost zero cap flexibility for the next couple of years, and it does leave them in an awkward position. If you win the Stanley Cup, great. If you don't, you can end up looking foolish with this massive contract that forces you to dismiss other young star players. My gut instinct still says that Tavares likely stays in New York. You've got a brand new coach. They are playing 20 of their home games this year in Nassau, and we know that those games are sold out already. It's going to be a totally different feel. They're getting the new arena. They've got a new coach. They've got a new GM. There's a whole new feel with New York, and they have the money to spend on him. Now, if he goes, then the Islanders have all this money that they can spend elsewhere. They can spend it on other players. And there's no telling what Lou Lamoriello might do with all that cap space. But the Islanders are, I think, still the front runners. That being said, he's going to name 5 teams, 3 to 5 teams he wants to meet with. Odds are it's 5. And, hear them out and decide where he wants to go. San Jose, to me, seems like if he doesn't stay with New York, San Jose and probably Vegas are the 2 cities that would be really, really attractive to John Tavares going into this free agency, because both of them are playoff teams from this past year. San Jose was in the Stanley Cup final a couple years ago, and Vegas was in the Stanley Cup final this year, even though it was their first year. So there's a lot of excitement around Vegas, and certainly adding Tavares would only add to that excitement. I would be surprised if they're not on the list. Who the other 3 are? Toronto, probably. They're not going to be, pouring in a fresh sheet of ice and sitting around making videos just so he'll say no. So odds are they'll be on that list. But I've been trying not to report too much on this because it is going to get crazy. And I remember when Stamkos was up a couple years ago, it led to all of this crazy media speculation. And then Stamkos just ended up staying in Tampa. Star players will often end up staying with the teams that drafted them. You can get one more year out of them, and usually it's a place where you're comfortable and you know what to expect. Sometimes it's better to be with the devil you know than the one that you don't. So let me know where you guys think he's going to go, who you think he's going to end up interviewing with. I would imagine that the next time that I'll want to talk about this in a video will be when we know for sure if he's going to the market, and probably before July 1st we'll know where he's going. Odds are before July 1st rolls around, it's going to be like Kovalchuk. He's not officially a king, but he's a king. So something's going to happen with Tavares before the 1st where we know exactly where he's going to go. And at that point, I'll want to do a video about it, not before that. So again, this may end up being much ado about nothing, but I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Where does he end up going? Of course, when we had the Hockey Guy Awards, the overwhelming sentiment was he'll probably stay with the Islanders. I still think that's his best bet. But it doesn't hurt to hear the offers from other teams, because then what you can do is you can hear the offers from the other teams, go back to Lou Lamoriello and say, here's what they're offering me. And if I'm Lou, I say, all right, done. I might go a little bit above what those guys gave, but you know what? Even if it's a huge contract, it's John Tavares, man. They can't afford to lose him. There's so much upward momentum right now around the Islanders, they can't really afford to lose him. So let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Is Tavares going to remain with the Islanders past July 1st? Is he going somewhere else? And honestly, Vegas and San Jose are the two teams that make the most sense to me. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.